Gerda Christian was born on December 13, 1913, in Berlin, in the German Empire. Gerda worked for the Canadian-American businesswoman Elizabeth Arden before working for Adolf Hitler. In 1937, Hitler's other secretaries Joanna Wolff and Christa Schroeder complained about having too much work and asked for assistance. Hitler was initially reluctant, but he relented and hired Christian. She had initially been engaged to Hitler's driver Erich Kempka, but later married Luftwaffe officer Gerda Christian on February 2, 1943. After her marriage, she took a break from her employment for Hitler and her work was taken over by Traudl Jung. In mid-1943, Gerda Christian returned to Hitler's staff as one of his private secretaries. Her husband Gerhard Christian was promoted to General Major, and Chief of the Luftwaffe Command Staff at Hitler's request on September 1, 1944. In April 1945, he was stationed in Berlin at the Führerbunker HQ, but left the bunker on April 22, 1945, to become Chief of the Liaison Staff of the Luftwaffe to OKW Command Staff North. Gerda and Jung both volunteered to remain with Hitler in the Führerbunker. While in the bunker, the women also had their responsibility of looking after the Goebbels children. During Hitler's final days in Berlin, he would regularly eat lunch with Jung and Christian. After the war, Jung recalled Christian asking Hitler if he would leave Berlin. He firmly rejected the idea. Christian recalled that Hitler made it clear in conversation that his body must not fall into the hands of the Soviets, so he would shoot himself, and wanted to be cremated, without a trace, and Eva Braun said she would take cyanide to commit suicide. At one of these mealtime conversations, Hitler gave Christian a cyanide pill to use. In the early afternoon of Monday, April 30, 1945, Hitler and Braun said farewell to members of the Führerbunker staff and fellow occupants, including Martin Bormann, Joseph Goebbels and his family, the secretaries, and several military officers. After the farewells, Christian returned to the secretary quarters located in part of the large cellars under the Reich Chancellery. Later, she returned to the Führerbunker and learned from Chief Valet Heinz Linger that Hitler was dead, and his corpse was carried upstairs and out into the Chancellery garden where the cremation was in progress. She walked into Hitler's study and saw a blood stain, about the size of a hand, on the rug next to the sofa. After Hitler's death, Christian tried to escape from Berlin on May 1, 1945. She was part of a group led by Brigadier Führer Wilhelm Monk that included secretaries Else Kruger and Traudl Jung. The group was taken prisoner by the Soviets on the morning of May 2, while hiding in a cellar off the Skanhauser Rally. After her release in 1946, Christian divorced her husband because he had not remained with her in the Führerbunker until Hitler's death. She died of cancer in Düsseldorf on April 14, 1997, aged 80.